Hey guys, it's Gabe with the Minnesota Airsoft Association with a longer first look at your new Eshooter Smoky Flare BT compact unit. So I did a real quick short just to do a short, but we're going to do a little bit longer video now, do a comparison towards the larger Eshooter model as well as to the other smaller form factor tracers that are available from other vendors, at least the ones that I have access to. So let's do a quick unboxing again to remind you what's in here. I ordered this from overseas. It took less than 2 weeks to get here. In here you get your user manual. The functionality is the same as your other e-shooters, so not too much to know here. It comes with a smaller fill valve, which we'll use because I'll fill this unit. You get your default fluid from Eshooter. This is the non-smelling kind. Charging cable, which comes with everything. You get your hex wrench so you can lock it in place. You get a pretty standard pistol adapter for those of you who might have a different thread pitch. When I pull it out, I'll show you. It does have already 14 mil counter, so it comes with a spare O-ring. I'm not exactly sure what that's for. And then this is a spare plug for the reservoir, the fluid reservoir. So they do that with all of theirs, which is really nice because I know I haven't lost the plug to my any of my reservoirs yet, but I'm sure I will. Here's the unit itself. It's about 2.5 inches in length. I did not get total diameter, but just kind of as a comparison to the standard Smoky, it's smaller. It's smaller, and we'll do a comparison with a couple other units here in a second. The front of this has their protective but clear front end, so you can get more smoky color coming out, or I'm sorry, the tracer flash, muzzle flash coming out the front. So that's very nice. Pretty standard look though. Oh geez, this is gonna be great. So with this unit, you can unscrew the top if you need to, or just unscrew the whole shell and the top from the unit itself. The battery on this is a 3.7 volt, what does it say? 430 milliamp battery. So not a bad size battery. Comparatively to the two 3.7 370 milliamp batteries that come on the regular larger Smoky tracer units. So this has one battery, and then there's the reservoir. Again, a comparison for the reservoir. I'm sure there's some math somewhere that says how big this is, but probably about half the size of the reservoir of the standard Smoky Flare BT units. This has already been charged, so I don't need to do that. I'm going to go ahead and fill it. Let's fill this. For those that haven't done this, and there's no rocket science here, but I've heard people say, I've spilled it while trying to fill it. And yeah, that's going to happen. Unless you're just kind of careful and smart about it. And when I say that, I'm not being belittling at all. It's just, I've seen people just kind of like lay it on the ground and then try to fill it and it gets all over the place. Come on, that's not the way you want to do it. So this is, I'll try it with the adapter that they're giving us. Goes over the top, gives you a much smaller nozzle. This battery is not secure in here, and that's fine, but just something to know. The other ones are, the ones on the larger ones are taped in. When I fill my Smokies, I actually turn it so the reservoir, the hole is at the top and the depth of the reservoir is at the bottom. Well, it already fell off. So I don't know how I feel about this new adapter, but I don't think I need it. So I'm just going to stick this in here and let's fill it. Kind of watching. Geez, I can't even see. Oh, you know what? That reservoir is actually deep. All right. So it's actually kind of hard to tell, and I don't want to tip it over too much because I don't want to spill. It's actually kind of hard to tell how much is actually in here. This is the first time I've filled it. I do see that it's a little bit deeper, but yeah, it's not as intuitive. I'll just say that much. much smaller reservoir. This unit should be on, right? So let's see. That's changing the mode. This should be changing. So you've got buttons on the back for C and M, one's mode and one's, I think, color. What I'm interested in on this unit, so the standard Smoky flares, the sensor is all the way up here at the top, which is really nice for those of you who might be running an extended barrel. I've said this before, and it was a great thing for me to find for things like my MP7, my Bullcraft Industries MP7, which has a much longer barrel. What I want to try to do is just see if I can get this to, so it actually appears that let's see if I can turn it this way. The sensor, if I go from the back of the unit, the sensor is much more in the center. So that's about here in this unit as opposed to farther up, but that's not where you're buying this unit. This is more like a pistol or something you put into a different kind of can. I'm not getting any smoke. It is brand new. Let's see if we can't. I can definitely hear it trying to. There it is. There's a little smoke. Yeah, it's still trying to process it again. Brand new unit. There is a little smoke coming out. I'm not going to worry about it too much. There it is. You're starting to see it a little bit more. So, I mean, I wasn't worried that this wasn't going to be smoky. That's the whole point of this. Kind of the interesting comparison is form factor. So I'm going to leave it with its shell off, and then I'm going to pull in. This is both an Ace Tech Blaster and a Bifrost M. So when everything is together, making sure to watch that battery, careful. It's about on par with the same size of these Ace Techs. Now, I'll note that the Bifrost is actually not as big in diameter, so it's a little smaller in that sense. But overall length, very comparable. With the Bifrost and the Blaster, the original Blaster, these have these aggressive front ends, which I don't really care about, and maybe they look cool, but I'd rather they just be kind of plain fronted like we have the new Smoky Flare Compact. But just general comparison if you're going to put it on a pistol, and I will put it on some pistols just for looks. The other thing I wanted to compare to was two of the smaller form factors. So this is the Bifrost M. Oh, there we go. Bifrost M. And this is the new Ace Tech Quadra S. Yes. So these are much smaller, but they're not smoking. Still multicolor. Also, this should still have the phone app, which we're going to try as well. But so comparatively, form factor wise, larger than some of these really super small ones. But this one has a really weird form factor that only goes on a couple different guns. And this one has a shell that you put into other things. So in a lot of ways, what I'm expecting to use my new Eshooter Smoky Compact for is what I've been using my Ace Tech Bifrost M for, which is, again, to put it in the larger cans. So that I thought that was an interesting comparison. Let's show how this looks on some pistols. And I'm going to start with an AAP 01C, the Assassin. So again, as noted, standard threads, goes on easily. Not bad. Don't mind the look of it. From a point down point, if you have, depending on the size of your holster, you might actually be able to holster this with this can on. So that's the AAP 01C Assassin. Let's do a Glock 19, since a lot of people own Glocks. Again, nothing unusual here, should just thread on, assuming I'm doing it the right way. I don't know my lefty-loosey, my righty-tighty here. Oh, that one actually lines up perfectly. But, you know, here you go. Smaller can. Looks pretty good. Same thing. The Glock has a, as a cube, has a smaller, slimmer factor than the can. So depending on your holster, you're going to need a wider part on the front in order to be able to holster this. And just because I have one available, this is the Arcturus Vanguard. It's one of my favorite pistols now. It is a chunky, heavy boy, but honestly, it's a great looking pistol. I actually think this can is going to look pretty nice on this too. Yeah, wow. I do have an O-ring on this, so it does show up pretty well. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy about that. So, looks good. Smaller form factor, and it smokes. Not that we'll be able to see. I'm not going to show you my phone here, but I am going to try to connect to the app and see if we can connect. For those that don't know, the whole Eshooter line, whether it be the Silo or the original one, you can use an app to use as a chrono on the larger units. You can use to change your configuration, your color, how much smoke, your sleep mode. It is a very handy, yeah, right away it connected. You get the idea. There's an app, it's connected to it. I'm just checking to verify what I see here. And so, you know what? It also is a chrono. So I didn't read the manual, guys. I just was so excited to film this that I jumped right in. So it has the same functionality as the full size Eshooter Smoky Flare BT and Silo versions, but you now in this much smaller form factor. Here's my settings. I'm going to put it down here. My smoke is set to high. I'm set to, both tracer and muzzle flash now. So you just saw that flash. I can change my colors here. That's red. There's your blue. There's your green. There's your more realistic kind of yellow whitish. I love that version. So the app works exactly as we're used to. Let's see if I can get a couple shots out of this. Now, I'll be interested to see how this shoots itself. There's a little more smoke coming out. Yeah. I know that on the larger units, I can go full auto and it looks great. We'll see how this keeps up. It's the same technology, just smaller, so hopefully it's the same. That's it. General unboxing, first look. I have not seen anybody else with these yet. I haven't seen them in any US stores yet. Again, as soon as I heard they dropped, I went ahead and I ordered directly from overseas. I didn't have any problems with that. Less than 2 weeks to receive the unit. I'm going to do some testing over the next couple days. I do have a game on Saturday. It is Wednesday today, so that'll be a couple days. But I'll do some shooting with the unit just to see how it performs. I also have access to a different can that actually can take units in like the Brighter C and screw into it. I assume this will have the same functionality, and I hope it does because I want to use a different can, an external can for this. But I'm mostly planning on using this myself on pistols. So let's also talk price. This was 120-ish from overseas plus some shipping. So it's on par for what you're going to pay for your other units, your larger. The Silo unit is, because of the design of the Silo unit, is a little more expensive. But, so you're between 110, 130 for all the Eshooter Smoky BT models. So look for future videos coming soon on the new Eshooter Smoky Flare BT Compact. This is Gabe for the Minnesota Airsoft Association. If you want to see something specific, let us know.